Okay, so my name is Milda. I am information security professional with over 10 years of experience overall, about more than 6 years of experience in cybersecurity. I've been primarily working in governance, risk and compliance areas of security with a variety of clients, maybe primarily would be financial services, retail, telcos, some gaming clients as well. I think it's very difficult to tell what exactly you do on a day-to-day basis as a consultant. I think other professionals in cybersecurity space probably could give a better description about their exact day, simply because they might be working on a particular topic or area every day. But as a consultant, I might be working with different clients which have different projects. So it also very much depends on organization itself and the type of engagements that we work on. So in my case at the moment, I work on running a day-to-day management system of information security. That could be different on a different week or day, because I could be doing an audit, for example. Before pandemic started, I was traveling a lot as well, doing audits, visiting clients. So it could be very different days for a consultant. I think it's difficult to describe something that would be a typical day. And I think that might be something really good for somebody who doesn't like a routine, who wants change and who enjoys doing different things. Adding value, I think, is a subject that is, I think it's subjective for every client, because in my opinion, adding value is doing above and beyond the actual engagement requirements, and making sure it's very much about making sure that what is being done is tailored to the needs of the client. I think value add very much comes to it's about having expertise and knowledge in doing what you're doing, because it's very important to understand whether what you do, what you deliver, and what client wants is what they actually need. So as a person who knows about security, and as a person who's a consultant, I think the value add for me comes down to understanding how can I make sure that the client gets the best out of the engagement, making sure that it's not just ticking the box and delivering what the client asked. Sometimes it happens that a client might want something, but it's not necessarily exactly what they need. It could be that there is some adjustment that could be very valuable to them. So I think it's very much about focusing what is necessary to each and different client. I think something that I really like about my job is that it's never the same. It could be very different depending on clients, as I said, and depending on projects. Even if it is the same area with different clients, the project could be different because of their different needs, because of different technology that they have, different culture, different goals and objectives that they have. So I think the fact that it's different and it's changing helps me learn a lot, and I'm the kind of person that loves learning. In addition to that, I think the changing environment and different technologies, that kind of changes in the industry itself makes me learn and develop as well. So I think that's something that is really important for me. And I think it's extremely a good area and profession for anybody who likes learning and challenges as well. At the moment, I have ISO 27001 lead auditor qualification. I've got SSCP, which is like a baby CISSP. So I'm working on getting CISSP now, and I also have CISM. Also, I like incident management and incident response side of cybersecurity a lot. So I'm learning a lot in that area now, and I'm working towards a certified incident handler certification as well. So I think something that excites me a lot is what we call blue teaming activities in cybersecurity. So this is something that I try to gain as much knowledge and understanding about as possible. Also, maybe that's something that is very interesting for somebody having inquisitive and curious mindset, just because it requires a lot of digging and exploration, so to say. Let's say if you have any incident, you need to understand how that happened. You need to evaluate various things. You need to basically build a picture of everything that might have happened. So it's almost like a little bit like a detective type of activity, which is something that I really like, mainly because of that discovery element. At the same time, I think GRC side of cybersecurity is very interesting purely because it's difficult to implement or do anything else in cybersecurity when the governance and strategy is not there. When activities are not set within governance, and organization is not having that kind of guidance. So it is kind of very important side, I think, and the side that most of the organizations and many people get kind of wrong. And I think that's where it all starts. Essentially, you will struggle delivering other areas in cybersecurity if you don't get the GRC right. So I think those two areas, they are very interesting to me overall. But I think my biggest focus for now is incident response and handling. I don't think there are anything like areas that are my least favorite areas. I would say the thing that I probably like the least in my profession overall are the repetitive tasks. So some things that I need to do over and over again. And I think that's probably the same with anybody doing work in their jobs, where they need to do repetitive tasks every day, and they are people who are more inquisitive and curious. So those kind of automatic and I wouldn't say boring, but those tasks that don't challenge you in any way, they could be a little bit more boring, and you'd like to avoid them in a way. Although sometimes they might need doing. It's just part of the overall thing. I couldn't single out any specific area, anything specific that could come to mind. I think that very much depends on day-to-day activities in every different client. I think it will depend again on different projects and engagements, but the kind of thing that I notice is challenging overall, and is a good challenge, is working with people, because they might be different types of characters, they might be having different issues, they might be having their own concerns potentially. So being able to build a good dialogue and especially build a good relationship between myself and that kind of person is, I think, a key to success. And whenever I get that right, the project is typically going really well. So I think that kind of challenge could be, if it is not done correctly, if it's not working, it could be basically becoming difficult in everything else that project involves and all the other tasks that I have to do. So that's probably the most important one. Well, I think mainly because I work a lot in GRC, in governance, risk and compliance, there's no exciting tool that we use in particular. I imagine that would be maybe something more exciting if I worked with like pen testing teams, or maybe even security operations, like engineers, developers. But working in governance, risk and compliance typically doesn't require a lot of tools and knowledge about the actual programs that will help you do something. Many times a lot of companies, they just use Excel spreadsheets for all the activities they need to do. So that could be potentially, in some cases, the most advanced tool that we use. Although there are some other tools that could be used, depending again on each client and what they like in their organizations. Anything from communication tools like Slack or Microsoft Teams, I don't know, up to things like Jira and Confluence to store information, and tickets and that kind of thing. There are some GRC tools that some organizations use, but that's also very specific to each one. And those tools are not necessarily anything very technical. They are just set up to display dashboards and risks, let's say, how to quantify and see visually, and manage them better. But that's the most complex tools that I think can come to mind in my space. Empathy. I think that's emotional IQ that is most important, not just in this job, but I think it is in most of the other jobs. It's very difficult to build good relationships if you don't have good emotional IQ. Then I would say something that is important is being able to articulate your thoughts and ideas, being able to understand the language that people speak. And I'm not talking about speaking foreign languages, but sometimes cybersecurity could have jargons, which most of the time technical people tend to use. And a lot of the times speaking in that jargon doesn't help to translate the messages that people in different levels could understand. For example, management might not understand any of the technical language that people in technology and cybersecurity are used to speaking. And I think in cybersecurity, it is extremely important to be able to be that middleman and somebody who can translate between the technology into the management, into the business language. Because in my opinion, a lot of misunderstandings and miscommunications that happen in the business between tech teams and management is because technology teams are not able to translate what they mean and to deliver the message the way it is intended. And management people, they don't have enough technical knowledge to be able to understand that themselves. So I think it is very important to be able to communicate right. So yeah, communication, presentation skills sometimes are helpful, especially, to be honest, I think presentation skills are really important. In consulting, it is really important to be able to deliver the ideas and the projects that you potentially want to implement, and do that in a way that is not going to kill others. Many times people like to build huge decks of presentation slides and not deliver the message to the audience. So I think that's also something that people with these skills are doing well. It's kind of difficult to single out something in particular. I think once I achieve something that I think is big, then there's something else that is bigger. And I think I probably haven't come to something that is just so big that it's not possible to overcome that. I think, do you know what? I think passing the certifications that I have is something that I think is very, is something that I'm proud of, just because it did involve a lot of learning, and I did need to put in a lot of my time to be able to get them. But at the same time, I think I have really good moments when I finish really good projects. And when I say good projects, it's not big projects or not some kind of complicated projects, but when I get feedback from clients saying that it was very useful and they got the best out of it, I think that's something that makes me very proud. And I don't know whether that can be among the achievements, but this is something that I think every time I manage to deliver a project that clients, I think, it was a great project, that kind of makes me feel like I've achieved something really significant. So I think my answer would be that.